I'm Jilian Reece. I am the Executive Director of Carter County Drug Prevention. We really do anything that we possibly can to keep Carter County kiddos from doing drugs. And so that looks like a lot of full family support, navigating parents maybe who are in recovery, helping them kind of navigate newly formed relationships with kids that they haven't been actively around. So lots of parenting support. We have a youth coalition that's amazing. So we kind of live by the nothing about us without us philosophy. And so we feel like our youth advocates are the best thing that we have going, because they know better than we do how to best fight the drug and alcohol and tobacco problems in Carter County. And so we have a really cool group of teenagers that works hard to provide peer support and to navigate preventing drug use among their friends and peers. We do a lot of work with coaches in the sports community. We incorporate the faith community in any way that we can. Really, we look at 12 sectors across our community, so everything from businesses to media, parents, youth, government agencies, youth serving organizations, schools, law enforcement. We try to bring all of those folks together, and that's a huge part of what we do, because we, as a coalition, we feel like that's one of the ways that we can make the strongest community we possibly can, all working together towards the same goal. So we do a lot of that, a lot of collaboration, and we do a lot of just kind of changing our environment to a place where kids don't want to do drugs because they have either family support or they have access to good things, access to resources, access to healthy activities, places to go and hang out and do cool things. So really, any way we can prevent drug use in youth is what we're doing.
It's amazing. Are all prevention coalitions kind of modeled in that same demographic way to focus on children? Like if it's a pyramid, I guess you kind of flip it, children at the top, and then we trickle down, because I kind of feel like I notice that it may not be as singular purpose as that way.
Absolutely. Prevention coalitions are tasked with using SAMHSA's 7 strategies for prevention. And so those are really kind of the governing rules of what all prevention coalitions do or should be doing. And so those are things like looking at providing information, doing the events that we do, and just sharing like ways for parents to talk to kids about drugs, building skills. So our parenting classes, our youth programs, the access that I talked about, like making sure they have access to good things and not access to bad things. Changing policies in our community is one of the things that we focus on as one of those 7 strategies, making sure that host laws are in place. We don't want adults serving or giving kids alcohol or drugs or tobacco. And so those 7 strategies are really what we focus on. And we look at them from kind of an environmental level, where we are trying to reach the entire community, not just a certain population or not just a group of people, but really looking at, how can we get the word out across the community and create a healthier community as a whole.
So based out of what if I'm hearing you right, based out of what your findings were from the community, it was like this is where our need is focused. Yes. Versus we're just going to create something and hope it's yeah. Which makes sense. And it also, if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense. If you want any effective change within your community, it has to be the youth in that way. Start there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know you all do good work.
Thank you.
Why do you feel like your heart's in it so much? Because there's not. I mean, people get into the field and they do the work, and they, a lot of times, if they're not alcoholic or drug addict inclined, they obviously know somebody that is. But we're hard class of people to work with. But you don't seem like that's the case with you. Why is that?
This is not the field that I ever imagined myself falling into. But I think what happened was I started as a mama wanting to support other mamas and loving other mamas and figuring out how can I have support groups for breastfeeding and for, just mamas who are at home and mamas who are working and all of the things. And so I went from that world into being a tobacco health educator and helping pregnant mamas quit smoking. And so it kind of opened my eyes to what addiction looks like a little bit more. And really, with a lot of those mamas, smoking was the very least of their worries.
Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, there's so much deeper and so many more things that they're navigating. And so then when the director of Carter County Drug Prevention job came open, I felt fully unqualified to take it. But some really awesome mentors of mine were like, tobacco, the community, like you can come in and do this. And what I found was that my love of those mamas really translated into a love of people who'd struggled with substance use disorder. And so, and it's been really healing for me in a lot of ways, because it's very easy for me to love Raj, and it's very easy for me to love Craig, and it's very easy for me to love Tab. But it's harder when it's people in your own circle, when it's your family or friends. And so it's been really, I just feel like the universe kind of positioned me here in a lot of ways to figure that out, and to realize like, I gotta love the people that are closest to me the same way that I love Raj, and kind of having that empathy and that giving me that gift of being able to see people in a different light, because I get to work with the most amazing humans all the time. And then I got to take that and kind of translate it into my personal life and, I don't know, create this really cool healing thing.
Yeah. I guess you get to take all the good stuff home with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everybody can say that. So, speaking of Raj, Craig, and Tabitha, you have a partnership with Recovery Resources. Why is that something that you were interested in?
So I'll go back to like the very beginning when y'all were babies and like brand new to recovery and had big ideas and all kinds of, just cool things. And I kind of fell in love with Craig Forrester. Like, he walked into this room looking like an entire hot mess, like covered in paint or drywall or something, like I don't even know. And at the time, Jason Abernathy said, Jills, we're going to take care of this one. He's a good one. And so, of course, because Jason Abernathy said it, I was like, fine, you're in, like, let's go. And so from there, a board I was on at the time got to serve as the fiscal agent for Recovery Resources, and y'all getting started and getting kicked off and all those things. And it's really cool for me to think about those early days, and then kind of how my role has changed now, and how it's looked in those past however many years it's been, because I've been a champion for Recovery Resources since the very beginning, and
Day one,
and love the model and love the way that y'all love people, and the way that this organization is committed to what's best for the guys that are in the program, and that doesn't always look like a certain red tape model of the way we do things. And so I think that's really beautiful. And so since the beginning, I have served in lots of different capacities and helped wherever I could. I love to do parenting classes with the guys. We recently have started this peer preparation program where Tab and I meet with guys who have an interest in working in prevention or recovery, and have been able to kind of give them some skills, take the things that I've learned from hiring people in recovery and kind of pass those along to some guys. I'm now on the board of Recovery Resources, so I get to kind of see the behind the scenes things too. And I love the way that our organizations kind of serve each other and take care of each other. The dads to me are one of our greatest attributes that comes into our program, because we've got dads that are wanting to reconnect with their kids and wanting to do really cool things, and that's the best drug prevention to me. I sat at a table last night with a dad that I've been kind of working with off and on for the last 6 months or so, and watched him like coloring on a menu with his kid and like being present in that moment, and that's the most beautiful thing to me, being able to take these guys and like walk beside them as they're parenting for the first time, a lot of times as a sober dad, and just the way that like it brings me so much joy to watch them, and to think about all the last however many years and how many dads we've been able to kind of just support through their journey. And I think for me it was a learning thing again personally, because I feel like I was that person that was like, go see your darn kids. Like, what are you doing? Go see your kids. And I had no idea, like, the barriers and the challenges and what that really looked like. And so it's made me a better prevention coalition director, because I get to work with these guys and see what the actual struggles are, and see that they don't have money for a hotel room, and they can't bring their kids to sober living, and they want to go get their kids for the weekend, but what are they going to feed them? And, all of these different things. And so that's been one of my favorite ways that we kind of partner, is supporting dads. And in the last few months, I've been able to hire a couple guys that graduated from Recovery Resources, and that's been really beautiful too. The way that those guys kind of integrated into the CCDP culture and the things that they brought with them, from Recovery Resources, from the recovery community. I couldn't be more fortunate than having those guys on my team. And I think too, just doing things like 4th of July and these events that bring families together that are so important for Recovery Resources is really the epitome of drug prevention to me. Getting us back together with our families, navigating how are we going to not repeat cycles, how are we going to navigate the trauma that we experienced, and get back together with our families and figure out how to negate that trauma and be a dad, be a parent. So yeah, I'm pretty crazy about this organization.
You really are. You really are. From day one, we had people who were like, well, it's a good idea. Would talk to us and supportively, but under the guise of like, and maybe it was just my perception, but I don't know that we had anybody. Maybe a few I'm aware of, but I don't. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody that was more like championed us, like, just by the energy output, not necessarily just words, but how we were backed. And I think that gave some validity to the fact that we had a ground to stand on at that point. Like, if somebody else will take it serious, right?
Yeah.
It makes it tangible in some way. So thank you. Yeah. How do you feel like, I know you eloquently and masterfully just probably said this answer, so you may be able just to repeat yourself, but how do you think just in your experience, this partnership specifically has benefited, or maybe a better question would, how like other partnerships or other organizations partnering with other like-minded organizations could benefit their community based off of your experience?
So I think one of the unique things about the Recovery Resources program is really the partners. And I see such value in that, because there are 100 guys. And so there's only one Craig and only one Tab and only one Matt and JD and Chelsea. Like, there's only so many of them and 100 guys. And so it's really beautiful to watch partners come alongside the Recovery Resources team and staff and be able to love on the guys and encourage the guys, and maybe even see needs that immediate staff wouldn't necessarily see. And I think that is why I can't say enough about the importance of people partnering with this organization and continuing to support the guys in any way, because it creates this really cool culture where not only are the guys getting this staff support and getting the peer support, but they also have this extra layer of protection from community partners and from people that are also invested in them and loving on them and checking on them.
Absolutely. Dang. Is there anything else? Has this stirred up anything that you feel like you have to say?
I don't think so.
No. Well, you did. Thank you so much. It was masterful. It was a master class on giving interviews. So thank you so much.
Yeah, buddy.